And his this is reading easier. Did you ever think that by accidentally wearing an undershirt of the United Federation of Planets to a child's birthday party, that you would wind up here talking about Star Trek Picard with me?
Oh, is that how that happens? Is it this very undershirt?
You had no idea that you and I would bond over Star Trek. And now here we are.
Now my life has been ruined.
And now here we are. I leave a path of destruction.
To be fair, it's not you who's done this. We've just made it our mission to talk about it.
I had one question that I was going to ask you watching the first 9 episodes of Picard. And I don't want to ask that question anymore after watching the finale, because I kind of really, really liked the last 10 minutes of Star Trek Picard. I kind of liked it.
So everything, like the 1 year after, is that what you were talking about?
Captain's log, stardate, shall we say 1?
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
I did hate the last scene. The Q and Jack in the you're talking Q and Jack.
I was hoping the next generation wouldn't think so linearly.
Was this a post-credits?
You didn't watch it?
Oh no! Oh no! I did not see the post-credit scene.
What does it all mean?
What? Okay, well, I'm glad I ruined it for you. So, Q essentially pulls a Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury in Iron Man.
Is he putting together a team?
No, he's recreating a trial.
You told my father that humanity's trial was over.
But, okay, so you didn't even watch this.
I did not.
You got lost with the camera spinning around the poker table, going down, and then coming back. Wow. Okay, so you didn't see that. All right, that's cool. But I liked the last 10 minutes. And I didn't like everything about the last 10 minutes.
By our new head of Starfleet Medical Branch, Admiral Crusher.
But there was this moment when they started the poker game, when I realized what they had done this season, which is they spent the entire season undoing the movies.
I don't think that's wrong. The movies have kind of an outward centrifugal force to them that I had this thought where when you end at Emesis, everybody's kind of going their own way. They're parting from one another. Data's dead. All of that has occurred. And this has almost the reverse, like, gravitational pull where now everybody's back together almost at the very exact same last scene as All Good Things.
Oh. Yes! Absolutely. A couple of hands, right? Yes.
They recreated that scene, which is fine for what they're trying to do. You've got Data's back alive, the D is back together, no E, no F. And in addition, because they renamed the Titan, the Enterprise G, because they do this, we actually spent the entire season watching the Enterprise.
That's right. I don't know how I feel about them rebranding the Titan as the G, but I get why they would do it.
Okay, so here's the thing. I liked the last 10 minutes, and I thought almost everything leading up to that was stupid, as I did for almost all of Picard Season 3. My question to you that I was going to ask before liking the last 10 minutes, my question to you is Star Trek Picard the worst Star Trek series?
I think it is the worst Star Trek series, but if you watched Star Trek Picard Season 3 in isolation, it would be fine. Wouldn't be great. Might not even be good. It would be fine. But because the first 2 seasons are what they are, it really takes this down and kind of guts it a little bit.
Picard doesn't have a good episode.
It has good moments, but not good episodes.
The tentpole episodes of The Next Generation are what they used as their structure. You've got Encounter at Farpoint, Best of Both Worlds, and All Good Things. And they built the entire season using those episodes as a scaffolding.
Did you think you would get 2 Mindscape conversation episodes? Where they're in a void, 2 people in a void, hashing it out?
Yes, I did. Because I told you that.
You did predict this.
I texted you that Picard would allow himself to be assimilated so that he could resist with Jack.
You were absolutely. And he saved him with the power of love.
And he saved him with the power of love. That's exactly what I knew was going to happen, because that's how contemporary writing works.
What does it all mean?
But you, I think, did a really good job of figuring out what this season was about. Will you talk about what this season is about?
This season is about how the youngs are out to get us. The under 25 Gen Zers are out to destroy everything that the boomers in particular have built. Or this season is about how Gen Z is out to ruin us. They have been assimilated by their TikToks and their technologies and their, social media presences, and they are out to cancel the olds. They are going to take control of those corporate offices and eliminate the unassimilated, those who do not play along. And the only people who can save us are the boomers. Only people who can save us are those really, really old, decrepit people and their Starship equivalent of a hip replacement that can swoop in and save the day. Gen X can't do it. Gen X just gets killed, or they are basically impotent when it comes to solving this crisis. Our most Gen X Star Trek figure ever.
I reinstate you. Oh, and
Captain Sebastian Shaw gets killed in exactly the way we predicted he would, calling out the names.
Beverly, right, go!
And although with less climax than I would have hoped.
We didn't fight over who should live and who should die. We waited for orders, and then finally, some lieutenant comes down, and she just starts.
Yeah, it's about how the youngs are bad not to get us, and part of me is, as a millennial, sympathetic to this, but also I'm not real sure the boomers are going to be the ones who really do it in real life. And then you said, they're going to save us by the power of love, and that's exactly what happens.
The Borg show up out of nowhere. He opens the door, and there they are. If any of the vines, if a single vine in Jack's visions had been green, everybody would have said Borg, 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 Borg. But they were all red, so we were all like, it was a literal red herring.
Fire. Fire. Fire.
Yeah, and it turns out, and I guess thinking back about it, the only people he ever controls are young people. And so he's able to access them because they all have that Borg tech, genetically encoded in their brains. Which, by the way, that single part of the plot, I thought was great. Using transporters to do that.
This is Starfleet code.
Specifically transporter code. They've implemented portions of Captain Picard's Borg-altered DNA into the transporter system.
Somebody hacking the transporters and basically jacking with everybody's DNA who goes through that transporter. I thought that part was great and kind of Trekkish. I don't know that I like the Borg coming back for the 3rd season in a row when this is supposed to have been resolved now.
I did not care for the size of this Borg cube in Jupiter. And so I'm gonna put up a graphic. I'm gonna compare the Q-Who Borg cube with the Enterprise D, and the Enterprise D that basically goes through the Death Star.
The Borg have been so overplayed; they can't get past it. They're stuck, creatively.
You said, does Jack have to die?
I think he should have.
And I said he's not going to die because Picard has to save him with love, right? Let's talk about the difference between Vox and Locutus and how they became what they were. Picard was kidnapped by the Borg and assimilated. Jack purposefully sought out and joined and enjoyed the Borg.
It's perfect.
Which is why I think even if he makes a heel turn at the end, he should have to lay down his life to make penance. Just as a storytelling arc. It's not fine that he gets to go through Starfleet Academy in a year and be, part of the bridge crew of this next Enterprise.
For Starfleet to put you on such an accelerated track, trust me, it's an honor.
Well, nepotism.
How many people are dead? How many starships are just floating off, broken and destroyed?
He's like, this feels so good. I love being here. If Q is going to be putting humanity on trial with Jack, we are in trouble.
I think there's something about this redemptive pattern that is really disturbing from a storytelling standpoint. The story writers are perfectly okay with the fact that you got thousands of people killed, minimally, and then just basically walks away scot-free, and that's bad storytelling. He should be a tragic figure who has to pay for his crimes. I mean, I watched that Emissary, just that bit of Emissary where Sisko has his very, brusque encounter with Picard on the Enterprise D, and his palpable disgust with Picard. There should be a whole lot of people in Starfleet who are as mad or madder at Jack Crusher. It doesn't make sense for him to get put back on a Starfleet ship at all. It doesn't sit right from kind of a moral storytelling perspective.
How do you feel about Picard playing games with his friends every night and forgetting about his Romulan lover?
You asked me if Jack was going to meet his Romulan mother-in-law, and she didn't show up at all. She should have.
What could possibly go wrong?
I do like how Jack Crusher showed up on the Titan with his assignment to be on the Enterprise G.
Special counsel.
Yeah, and doesn't know what his job description is until 709 gives it to him.
Special counsel.
As special counselor to the captain.
Are we gonna talk about? I'll wait. I don't know. I don't know what his job is. I don't know. I only have one other thing to talk about. This is going to be like Star Trek Into Darkness, where I don't want to think about it too much, because then I'll just hate it, and I'm never going to watch it again. So I might as well be okay with the ending, like the very end, and not worry about the 40 stupid minutes that led up to that. Do we need to talk about in our 1, 2, and 3 video, we talked a little bit about the conception of Jack Crusher. Do we need to talk more about the conception of Jack Crusher? Because now it's super weird.
It makes literal the title Space Seed.
They thought it was Ironic syndrome. Dr. Crusher is a horrible doctor.
A world-saving effort developed by our new head of Starfleet Medical Branch, Admiral Crusher.
Also, this plot is long way in the making. Was this like a backup plan that the Borg had conceived of as far back as Best of Both Worlds?
It had to be it was like a long con, because they had to hope that Picard would procreate.
Which doesn't seem to be plan A.
Yeah, I mean, boy, it's a good thing that Renee burnt in the fire.
We don't know. We don't want to think about it too much, do we? For all the member berries, it doesn't really sit well with me in the end. It had moments that I liked.
Well, it took too long. This was a 4-episode story in 10 episodes. And when Shaw died,
R.I.P. my man.
When Shaw died, they shot it in the worst way possible because of the room that they had. Because they set the death, they put all those, they needed all those big things in front of our main characters so that when the Borg shot at them, our main characters could hide behind them because they were really slow. And so they had to have all these things. And so then that sort of mitigated what you could shoot of Shaw's death. And it wasn't, I don't normally criticize the cinematography of this show. It does a pretty good job with editing and cinematography on the whole, but I felt that this was a moment too removed from us.
I hope we die quickly.
I think so, and it doesn't give it the weight that moment deserved. I actually liked that character a lot, and I had a feeling like he was going to end up dying in the way that his captain died at the Battle of Wolf 359. But I'm kind of bummed about that.
Some lieutenant comes down and she just starts.
Because that's right, his lieutenant. Because I actually like this character a lot and would have probably enjoyed a Titan series with Shaw.
Well, they waited too long because Shaw was such a big part of the first 4 episodes, and then he wasn't a big part of the next 5. And so when he died, his importance had been diminished to the point where his death didn't have the impact that it needed to.
I think I agree. I think that's right.
You have too many characters. You know, by that point, you've got to get everybody on the D at the end of the 9th episode.
Overall, Picard, season 3, bad in context, slightly less bad in isolation.
They undid the movies.
They undid the movies.
And I was kind of okay with that. Like, that was when they started playing poker, I realized they were undoing the movies, and I was like, okay, I'm okay with that.
Plausible explanation for getting the D back. It kind of made sense.
You got to get it off the planet. Geordi, refits it.
And I bet he only refitted the bridge and a couple other rooms. Like
his quarters look great. Worf's quarters are garbage.
I bet he didn't mess with pre-K. Yeah. He didn't mess with.
That's why the Captain Picard. That's why the Picard Day banner was in season 1, because they picked up the hull.
Yeah.
And that was when they salvaged it. The hull was on its way to the Fleet Museum, and the Captain Picard Day banner was on its way to the archives.
I bet you're right. Oh, man.
I laughed uncontrollably when the Borg cube showed up.
They didn't mean for you to.
No, they didn't mean for me to, but it was unintentional, which means they don't know what they're doing. I laughed so hard. I told Jessica, should I just shut this off right now? I didn't.
Are you glad you stuck it out?
I guess I am. I'm glad that I stuck it out because it's over now. They're not. I think last week everybody was thinking they're going to leave it open for a 4th season. There's no way after you do the poker scene again that they're doing season 4. Yeah. That's it.
Is it because they in retrospect don't like the movies? And would this season have been better without the first 2 seasons of Picard?
It would have, but it's better than the other 2 seasons. Yeah. But they wouldn't have made this season. They wouldn't have made Picard if Picard wasn't different. Patrick Stewart wanted Picard to be different. And then they made it exactly the same when he realized that everybody freaking hated it. Here's the series I want to see. I want to see like an HBO documentary series, and it's Patrick Stewart, and he has to go to all these people's houses. Michael Dorn, Marina Sirtis, and he's got to beg them to come and help him because they screwed up. And the whole season is gonna be the lead up to the middle of season 2, where they actually at the end of the episode made a trailer for season 3, where they said we're gonna have everybody come back. And so there's like this ticking clock, right? It's like people are watching Picard, but we've got to get I've got to get my friends back. I've got to get everybody back on board. Otherwise, this isn't going to work. The show is going to be an abomination that the fans hate.
Yeah, and you had to get them all back.
You could have done it without Data.
Maybe.
They could have done it without Data. I'm just saying they could have done that.
Jonathan Frakes probably was like, "Oh yeah, of course. I still do Star Trek."
But Brent Spiner, like, did you ever see the video he made with LeVar Burton? He made like what was clearly supposed to be like a pilot for a series that never got picked up. It was like a musical where it was Brent Spiner being Brent Spiner, and he like hated like LeVar Burton's fame.
There he is, LeVar, the star. LeVar.
Hi, baby. Thank you so much for the call. Carrie, how are you?
No, but that would have been funny.
Yeah. It is funny, and it's out there. You should watch it.
Spine. I love you, man.
Yeah, well, you're wrinkling my suit.
It's been too long.
Could have been sooner.
So Brent Spiner, I mean, I'm sure he was the first person who was like, he probably answers the phone. My buddy Tony, he has this joke, right? That out-of-work actors, that they just sit looking at a table, and as soon as the phone rings, he'd go, Brent Spiner, actor. Yes. Honey, I'm going to a child's birthday party.
There was a young lady from Vega. I always wanted to finish this.
And the other thing about Brent Spiner is he's all the Zooms, right? So he was already in. He probably didn't have to be asked. He was already in the series. He was probably on board with the idea.
Okay, so Jonathan Frakes.
It wouldn't have been Jonathan Frakes or Marina Sirtis either.
Yeah. Who do you think was the hardest person to talk back into this?
You know who I bet it is? I bet it'd be LeVar. Because I bet he said, if my daughter
could do it.
If Micah, you know, Jordy's supposed to have 3 children. I've got Micah. She wants to be on a streaming service.
I think so. I think LeVar Burton was probably the hardest to get back, maybe followed by Gates McFadden.
I do think that LeVar was probably the hardest to get, and that his daughter being in it was probably a caveat to him being in it. So, I mean, it's a cynical thing, but sure, I don't know, why not?
Well, when they're on screen together, I will say this, the TNG cast do seem to have fun together, even in Picard.
I don't think it was difficult to shoot the poker scene.
Yeah.
Because that's something that actors who don't have chemistry would have to coordinate to make sure that they're doing so. I don't think that occurred. I think that was fairly simple.
Did you expect them to bring back the Enterprise D for this season? Or was that actually did catch me off guard? I didn't expect that to happen. And I'm still not sure how I feel about it.
I knew at the end of episode 9 that that's what they were going to get.
I've got a better idea.
I don't know that I saw that coming until like a minute before. You know, it was just one of those things where I was like, well, this is where they're going. Okay.
But I texted you that, hey, this is the plot of Metal Gear Solid 4, right? They've got to go get the old battleship out of mothballs because it's not controlled by the system-wide.
It was the plot of Metal Gear Solid 4. And that's okay. Like I said, the scaffolding of the season was Encounter at Farpoint, which was resolved in the 4th episode. All Good Things, which kind of made its way throughout with the Ironic Syndrome stuff, and but then and the poker game, right? But then, I mean, the last 2 episodes were very obviously a play on Best of Both Worlds, and so everything else is just kind of sprinkling as many Easter eggs as you possibly can throughout, and they sure did. Whew. They used the Easter egg budget in a way that I don't know has been used before.
What are we going to talk about next?
We should talk about something we like next. That's what I think. I think you should just pick an episode that you like, and we should watch it and talk about it. You know, we should do a 7 of 9 sign off. Where it goes.
We should develop a real sign off. I've got one.
I don't like sign-offs. They get so kitschy.
Yeah, I think my sign-on now is just going to be Kapla, because I like that a lot.
Kapla. Success. Well, we can end that way too. There's no reason not to.
Is Kapla how you say farewell more often?
Kapla.
I thought it was a greeting.
Did you ever see the episode of Frasier where Frasier speaks Klingon?
No, I don't think I ever.
He thinks he's reading Hebrew, and his he thinks he's reading Hebrew. At his son's bar mitzvah. But the guy at the station gets mad at him, and so he translates it into Klingon. And so he gets up. He gets up in front of everybody, and he just gets up, and everybody's waiting, right? Nothing, you're just waiting, and he sets it down, and he goes,
Po'ok. Lord Wile Ko'o. Hak Jaj Shokoov Moach.
The episode was called Star Mitzvah.
That's great.
So are we going with Kapla?
Kapla should be our ending, right?
Kapla.
Kapla.
Shabbat Shalom.
And then I'll cut to Frasier. Po'o.
Well, it's a blessing for my son. Po'ok Lord Wile Ko'o.
Kapla.
Could you imagine if it like you know? He's reading